So let me expose the tower first.
Ooh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I need 2 hands. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, okay. It's good. It's just the top one.
Now, what happens if I knock the whole thing down?
It's okay. Then the game's over. Finished. That's one way to get out of this part of the podcast.
Episode.
Exactly. So basically, this is Jenga. And it's to pay homage to my mother because Jenga in Swahili means to build. Kujenga is the full word, actually. And the rules of the game are you only use one hand at a time. Either hand may be used, but you only may touch the tower with one hand at any time. So that's why I asked you when you came in today if you're right-handed. So I put you on this side. So you have the advantage. You may tap a block to find the loose one, but if you move it out of place, you could just fix it back in before moving to another block if you don't want to commit to that specific block. You can just ditch it. You don't have to commit all the way. You remove only one block per turn, but if more than that comes out because it has with another guest, we have 2 questions, I guess.
Okay.
You can remove a block anywhere below the highest completed story. So the top story is the highest completed story. And I tried to space it out because now it's been a couple of guests that have played. So the top is all the old questions we've used. I think the first 4 and the bottom, a couple of them. So the middle is where all the new questions are.
Oh.
So this is actually a new part of the introduction of the podcast because I've tried my best to shuffle them. So the person who draws the question is the one who reads the question and then the other person answers and then I answer after. Okay. So you just see what feels natural to you. Like I've experimented with the game and it feels natural to read the question and wait for the answer. So your call. It's your episode. Also, there is one lucky piece where as the guest, you get to ask me a question. So somewhere in there, there's a piece where you can ask me. If you want to ask me a question as well, you're welcome to. And one of the experimental name for this game is called block banter or Burj banter, just because I'm Arab. So you decide what you feel is best, and then you get to cast a vote as a podcast guest. Because I'm trying to decide the name still.
I think Burj.
Burj banter? Okay. Let me write that in your cue card. You voted Burj banter.
Okay, now I'm nervous, so
it's okay.
I don't know if we're gonna knock the whole thing down.
I will soothe your anxiety. You can go first because you're the guest.
Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Can I just take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a forgiving person?
I shuffled so much and I still got the same question.
Everybody's getting this?
No. But I'm trying to be because I'm exploring Islam more. So I'm supposed to be forgiving. So I'm trying.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I hope so. I've worked on it a lot with my life coach. So I've gotten a lot better at it. So I'm forgiving in a sense of I let it go, but I won't let you back in, yani. You know? So, yeah. What about you?
Yes, I always said that I don't hold grudges.
MashaAllah.
So
I wish I was the same.
That's one thing. Like I have a lot of things that are negative, but alhamdulillah, I don't hold grudges. But I also don't forget, right? So I forgive, but I remember. And so if I do give you a chance and then you do something again, obviously then lesson learned.
Yeah, exactly. That's nice. I hope to be like you one day.
Inshallah.
I think I'm like at 5% out of 100.
Really?
Yeah. It's still progress because at one point I was like negative 100 in that scale of everything. But I don't even know why I hold grudges the way that I do. I'm just like, I think I have my mother's pride. That's what I'm going to
go with.
I blame you, Mom. Okay.
That's what I always blame everything negative on my mom. And she's like,
Exactly. Okay, so when you're done, you just stack it, but that way, because these ones are this way. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, this one actually looked loose. First one. Lucky try. Okay. In what ways do you push your comfort zones to foster personal development?
So I just do things when they come to me. So I don't like talking about myself. I can sit in front of an audience, talk about legal things, talk about real estate issues, whatever it is. But I don't actually like talking about myself. Like when I'm in a course and I have the first slide is my bio and I have to introduce myself, like even that is the worst part for me, you know, of everything. Yeah, it's just, I don't like it. So here I am because I thought I need to push my boundaries. So I just do things. Whenever the first time that I need to do something, yes, I know it's going to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know I'm probably not going to be great at it. And that actually used to bother me a lot because I am a perfectionist.
Same.
But I just know that's it. I have to do it. Otherwise, you know, obviously I'm never going to get good at something unless I try it.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, just do it. That's it.
Yeah. For me, I listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks to educate myself, and like, you know, Blinkist. So they like they condense books into 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I'm really good at listening to things and like doing everything else because I feel like I have 24 hours in a day, but I'm going to make it 500 hours in a day. So I listen to things. I, you know, make candles, draw, and everything. So now the way to get out of my comfort zone is to sit and read. And that's also a way for me to kind of press pause and educate myself because I feel the need to do so much. So this is my way of doing monotasking instead of multitasking. So that's me trying to push my comfort zone. I'm on page 3 of my book only. Aww. I'm trying to read more.
Actually, so what I've done, because I used to be a voracious reader when I was younger, and then I went to law school. I don't want to read anything. So now what I do is I listen to books, the audiobooks.
Yeah.
And I do that while I'm getting ready in the morning, while I'm driving, whatever it might be, where I have time to do it. And that way, you know, I'm killing time, but I'm doing something useful in the meantime as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do the same. I'm cooking and I just tell, like, I can't say it out loud because she'll start, but Alexa, you know, play audiobook, and then it starts. So I don't want her to start the audiobook now. I'm listening to like Britney Spears' life story because I love listening to autobiographies because it feels like they're giving me the tea. Yes. I'm like, tell me more. Oh my gosh, what happened then?
You and your reality TV. I saw that you like reality TV.
It's a guilty pleasure. So I never used to like reality TV. And then I had like a friendship group in my early 20s. That was a lot of drama. And that's all I'll say about it. But then after they left my life, then I'm toxic. I missed the drama. I was like, so I missed the drama, but not being in the drama. So then that's when I started watching reality TV. I'm like, this is great because I can switch it off.
What's your favorite one right now?
Right now, I finished watching Buying Beverly Hills. It's not that dramatic. I just like looking at the houses.
I like all the real estate shows.
Yeah.
I've always loved the real estate.
Have you watched this one? Yeah.
Yes.
Did you finish the latest season?
Yes.
Me too. I just finished it like yesterday or the day before because I'm on annual leave. But yeah, I love the houses. First of all, how are people spending so much money on rent? I thought rent was bad here. It's worse than Beverly Hills, apparently. And Aspen, because that's one of the parts in the episode. Anyway, I am going on a tangent. So I'm going to put this block up here. Okay, your turn.
Let's see. Okay. What do you think people misunderstand about you?
That I'm stuck up, but I'm really not.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people, do they tell you that? Because I don't get that vibe from you.
Oh, really? I think it's before they speak to me. So like, I always spoke, like I slid in your DMs, I spoke to you. And then even when we met, like I'm a hugger, but I don't like touching, but I'm a one-time hugger. Like, hello, hug, and then don't touch me anymore. And then goodbye, hug, because thank you for being in my life. But yeah, so I feel like before people speak to me, so I feel like you just see a picture of me on social media or it's not a video. I feel like that's when people feel like, you know, or even at work, like, it's not that I'm not friendly. It's just that I did the part where I was a bubbly little, like when I was 19 and I started, and now I'm like, so to give you the contrast, when I first started working, I was like full face of makeup, literally exactly how I look now, but 19. So like 10 years ago. And I would speak to everyone. I was super friendly. And now it's the same guys. And I'm like, yeah, I have a job to do. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like my demeanor has changed a lot. And then the new people who join just see me as this girl, like, because I wear like full black abaya. I have stitched the same 6 abayas because they're like my work ones. So they have pockets. The sleeves roll up so I can press the buttons. put my headset on, and my whole abaya doesn't interfere. And one of the boys said that I'm giving off Snape vibes.
What?
Like from Harry Potter, like just angry and wearing black, and my abaya does this. So, I feel like, so in that sense, people do think of me as that, because then if you follow me on social media, I'm like, oh, I like do public speaking and la la la. And at work, I'm like, go away, especially if I'm on shift, because I have to compartmentalize to do the job well. And I always go, if there's a new girl that I see has joined, I'll go to her and I'm like, I know I look grumpy, but I want to support you. And when it gets tough, here's my number. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you'll understand. Yeah. You will know when to message me. So that's the part that I do. But I feel like there is that misconception. Just because also I have changed my demeanor, because I'm not bubbly all the time, because I've realized I can't be happy all the time. I'm not going to fake it anymore.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But what about you?
Yeah, so people think that I'm negative. Like they call me a pessimist. Okay. And I said, no, I'm a realist. And I said, that's just a nice word for pessimist. There's a difference.
Fair.
Because realism is knowing either your own strengths and weaknesses or the pros and cons of a situation, whatever it might be, and knowing how to act from there, rather than being, this whole thing with toxic positivity. It drives me nuts. Yeah. Because, just smile, be happy, think happy thought. No, that's not going to, like, happy thoughts did not stop a genocide, for example, right?
Yes.
There are certain things that it's not going to do if you just think happy thoughts, right? So the thing is, I'm not a pessimist. I am a realist. And there are times that people were saying, no, we can't do this or we can't do that. And I was the one saying, no, we can do it. We are going to do it. And this is how we're going to do it. And, come up with a plan and split up the work and do whatever. And so.
Yeah, you're a realist. I'm also a realist. But people think I'm optimistic because I smile when I say things.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
I think
awful.
That's the thing, right? Right? And that's the thing, is that you smile. And I have like the RBF, the resting beep face. Yeah. So most of the time, it's funny because a lot of friends that I made over the years, they said when I first saw you, if they were in my class or something, I thought you were mean because you just sit there. I'm like, oh, that's just my face.
I didn't get that. I was like, but I also feel like when I'm very like, when I meet people, and then brings that out in them as well. I don't know how to explain that sound effect I just made, but if you're listening and you don't have any reference, I smiled excessively and made my eyes really big. So I feel like people tend to think that. And I think it's because growing up, I had to be very positive for everybody else and break terrible news to like my little sisters or like my mom, because life was hard growing up. So I feel like I've learned to say in a way that makes it sound rosy, and then later you realize, oh no, that's a terrible thing she just said. Of like bad news, not like being mean, unless the person deserves it. So okay, next block.
This one.
Right. Oh yeah, here we go. What are your thoughts on the concept of destiny or fate?
Oh, I mean, look, obviously as a Muslim, we're going to believe, right?
I wrote this before I found God.
So we believe in nasib. So it is a thing, and absolutely everything is predestined for you. Now, can things change? Yes, because you can make dua, you can pray to have things change. But yes, I completely believe in it.
Yeah, me too. Especially now that I'm exploring Islam more, I'm like, wow. So there's a path regardless. So I'm just waiting for it all to come to me, but making myself open to accepting everything.
Alhamdulillah.
Good, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay.
How are you feeling with the game so far? Because I know it gave you shway anxiety.
Yeah, no, it was more about toppling over the whole thing.
Okay.
Hello. No, this one too. Oh, here we go. Have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
I hope so. If you're married.
And I love my dogs too.
Aww.
Yeah. I feel like this love question, a lot of people would assume is like, you know, like love, not platonic love, but I have love in like a I married you way, and I have love in like, oh, I love my dogs, and like maternal love and friendship love, all of that. So I feel like that's important to highlight, because you could also be in love with your friend, but it's not like in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There are different types of love, and obviously, yes, I've been in love romantically.
Yeah.
And
oh, that's the word. I was like, what does this mean? But yeah, the word is romantic. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm happy for us. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Oh, that was easy. I'm lucky today. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh, yeah, I would retire for sure. Maybe then open my bed and breakfast. Yeah. For somewhere in maybe Turkey, probably. I'd probably end up in Turkey.
I love Turkey. I went for my honeymoon there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went on to Cappadocia and the balloons. It was a lot dustier than I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so pretty up there only.
No, it's funny because, well, my husband's going to kill me, but he doesn't like heights at all. Well, neither do I that much, but I was willing to do the balloons, and he was like, no way, I'm going to have a panic attack. So I just watched them at 5 a.m. going up. Like, okay. But no, I love Turkey as well. I've been 3 times myself. Inshallah, this summer we're probably going to go for another time. So yeah, we're just trying to explore other cities as well to see where we might want to go. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I went up the hot air balloons. I'm scared of heights actually, but I went up the hot air balloon, and for some reason I'm okay with hot air balloons. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And the first time I went on one was actually in Dubai, so it was my closest friend's birthday. And she's obsessed with hot air balloons. So I surprised her with that. I'm like, happy birthday surprise, we're going up a hot air balloon. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah. So we did that. And then that's when I realized, and for her, I was like, I'm going to suck up my fear and go on this hot air balloon. And I really liked it. It's actually very serene because it's not drastic. And then, of course, with my luck, we crash landed.
Oh, you're serious?
And I was like, and these were on the ground. And then they fed us breakfast, and that healed me, and that was it.
Food always heals.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that bad. If he's not scared of if he's scared of heights, and it goes quickly, then this isn't that bad. I'll go with you.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll even
then my other concern would be that my motion sickness, because I have
motion sickness.
I have so many things. It's so ridiculous.
Is it after the sleeve with the acid reflux, or from before?
Just my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Fine. Oh, it's tippy. Can you grab that?
Oh, and you made one loose for me. Thank you.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
I already answered this question, so I'm trying to think of another one. Do you have the best advice you ever received?
So my mother told me many, many years ago, before I even got married the first time, that you can't change somebody.
Yes.
And I was like, it's okay. Yeah, I can do it. I tried, but yes, no, she was right.
She was right.
You can't change anybody, so accept them as they are, whether they're a spouse, whether they're a friend, whatever it is, whatever kind of relationship it is.
Yeah.
You have to accept them as they are, because you're only going to end up resenting each other if you try to change somebody, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree, because that's something I'm happy that I learned early on, because I would meet people, and my mom told me this, and I did listen to my mom, and I believed it when she told me. I had a couple of people that I was like, oh, it didn't work. Why didn't I help change them? And then I learned my lesson. But but yeah, like now I the mentality I have is you come ready-made, and am I willing to accept the good and the bad? And if it is something I don't like, is it something I'm willing to live with or not? And then if anyone's met me and I've gone silent, I just wasn't cool with the bad parts of you.
You know, it's funny.
I'm a ghoster.
When you said ready-made, it reminded me of something that my friend once told me about men in particular. She was saying, I'm tired of having to bake a man from scratch.
Oh yeah,
I want one that comes ready-made cookie.
Yeah, exactly. You want those that Spinny's cookie that's already there. You don't make the batter.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that would be great. Thankfully, Andy came ready made. That was nice. And whatever I didn't like, I was like, I accept. But it was like minuscule. Yeah, I need like, you know, everyone now is like a very small thing. They're like, oh, I have the ick. I'm like, what is? First of all, my sister taught me that word because she's like Gen Z. What's the generation?
Yeah, Gen Z.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, well, get over it. So yeah, so I was like, all right, I accept all of this. Let's go. Love me.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So now I know it's definitely you picked it, so it's my go. Oh, that was so easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I knew that would be one I already used because I was at the bottom of the stack. What does success mean to you and how do you measure it in your life?
So success for me, when I was younger, it was about, you know, the money, the position, those kind of things, the traditional forms of success, as we call it. But now it's really about just being happy with what I'm doing, being satisfied. Obviously, there's no job or position that you're going to always enjoy. There are going to be bad days. That's just the reality of life.
Yeah.
But
because you're a realist.
Exactly. But if you're at least enjoying what you do overall, you're happy with your life, you're content with the things that you have, then that for me is success.
I couldn't agree more. I've started to learn this, and it's also something that I mentioned. My answer was pretty much yours when this was drawn with 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐸, actually, because his episode's coming out today. So he drew this, and I was like, yeah, at one point in time, I agree that money, for me at the time, money was success because I had to provide for my mom and two sisters. So I was like, oh, I have money, I'm paying them and taking care of them, so that's equal to success. And then now I'm like, okay, alhamdulillah, I have that, and I agree, money is helpful. I'm never going to say, oh, money isn't everything. Money is helpful, period. But it's definitely, you know, I've reached that point where I just want to feel that contentment because I don't want to keep chasing the next thing. And, you know, the podcast was me also chasing something else, to do something else creatively, because I'm a creative person. Like, I draw, I do public speaking, even though it terrifies me, you know, and now with the podcast, I was like, okay, this is me chasing something else, but I want to chase something that is going to bring me that fulfillment, that contentment. Because I love working, I love doing air traffic control, like actually controlling airplanes, I love it. Actually teaching people how to control airplanes, I love too, because when I see them, when I see a tip I've given them, click for them, and then they are able to, like, as I tell my trainee, I have one female student at the moment, and I tell her, I'm like, pretend I'm not here and slay that radar, you know, like, you go girl. And when I see a tip I've given her, click for her, and me being part of the reason why she's succeeding, I feel that's also that contentment. That's a moment I'm like, oh yes, this is great. But then also outside of air traffic control, I'm like, I felt I had to do something else. So after this, I hope that this podcast brings me the contentment I want, because I can see myself doing this into like old age. I want to be like Oprah. I want to do this at 70.
Yeah.
You know? So let's see. You guys have a long way to go with me. Camera crew. Inshallah. So let's see. But yeah, I completely agree with you. But that's my story. So you get to know more about him too. Okay. Oh, that was easy. I have to like feel for it because I can't see that side. How do you approach decision making, especially with a difficult choice to make?
So sometimes I make the pros and cons list, and sometimes I just go with whatever feels better. Fair.
Is it like a gut instinct when you say feels better?
Yeah, definitely a gut instinct, yes.
Fair. What do? I meditate on it. Oh, yeah, like I meditate every day. People don't know that, but I meditate. Like I'll pray and then I'll meditate after, and then I'm like, okay, now I can deal with my day. So I'll meditate on it, and whatever comes to me with the difficult decision I have to make, I just go with what's in my heart, because I also try to decide. I try to make the decision based on not thinking what other people will think, because, you know, like that's what, if I make the decision based on what other people think of me making that decision, then maybe that's not the right path, you know. So Sometimes it might be shway controversial, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know, if it's in my heart to do it, I'll just make sure I follow through on it. So yeah, but also I try not to hurt people in the path of me making a difficult decision. I try my best. So
Good policy.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that first try. Is it? Oh, okay.
Should I go for something else?
It's up to you.
Let's see if there's something. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that seems easier.
This block is for the guests. You get to ask any question you want.
That's so great because that was a season finale and see, wallah, it's a real block. People thought it wasn't real.
So how did you meet your husband?
I also met him online, and for him, I was the first person he ever matched with, and then he met me and he's like, I'm done. I'm like, all right, good for you.
So you weren't done, you were still...
I don't know, like I never dated anyone before him. So for me, I was just like, so I heard about like the intention and the way men thought about women and all of that. And even growing up in high school, I went to a mixed school and I was the bro, you know, like the boys didn't see me as a girl. They saw me as like one of the bros, and I always hung out with more boys than I did with girls. I don't know. I just feel like the girls weren't as nice. I had maybe one or two good girlfriends, like as a friend. But then I always hung out with the boys. And I've always been comfortable with men or boys in school. So, yeah. And I just heard the intention that they had behind speaking to a girl in that way or whatever. And then I'm like, wow. And then I hear the girl side. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, he did this for me. And I'm like, you girl, you don't even know what he's after. Clearly. So I just feel like I heard a lot, and I was like, I'm not gonna be the yani. How do I phrase this delicately? I'm not going to be made a fool of, almost.
Right.
I was like, I know your intentions, whatever. So even when I met him, I was like, oh, you seem like a cool dude. And for me, I told him, I was like, oh, he seems really nice. I'm just gonna friend zone him. I was like, that's the safest way to actually keep him in my life, because otherwise they're just gonna ruin it. And then the more time I spent with him as well, he was leaving the country because of COVID. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to help you like leave. So, you know, he sold his car, he sold his motorcycle. He was packing up to like move to Norway to be with family and stuff. He's European. So I was like, okay, I'm going to help you out with that. And in the meantime, we can hang out, and you have access to hang out with my cool dog, Peanut, because they got along as well. So I was like, fine. And then one day he turns to me and he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm like, why? We've put in so much work. Get out of here. I'm like, I have enough air miles to visit you if I want. And then he's like, no, he's like, I really like you, and like, we should explore this. I'm like, oh, okay. No. And I was like, fine. So he was my first ever boyfriend and last. And, you know, he made me realize things about myself. Like, I didn't know that I like chivalry in men, because I was always like, I'll open my own door. Now I'm at work. I'm like, you shut that door on me? You know, whereas hold it. So, yeah. So, like, now I know I like chivalry. Help me in the kitchen. Like, he's a partner, and yeah, he does all the laundry. So my love language is like, the top one is acts of service, and the last one is words of affirmation. And he's a quiet man that does everything. So it's great.
Perfect.
Thank you. So yeah, and like he matches my banter as well. So he's quiet, but okay. You asked me how I met him, and now I'm like, I love him. Listen to all these things about him. Right. But yeah, he's great. So alhamdulillah, yeah. I did meet him online as well. So I feel like that's how most people are meeting anyway. You're so excited for this day now. But yeah, I always go on a tangent. That's why I'm happy that I'm interviewing people. Because, yeah. Have you ever had a nickname? What is it, and what does it mean to you?
Oh my God. I have so many nicknames. So the one from my family is actually Booba.
Booba?
Because when I was little, so my father used to pick me up and call me Haboobi.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Haboobi. So I was like, Booba, Booba, Booba. And so then I just became Booba. So my, you know, some friends and things call me Majdel Musa Overcame. I also have my nephews and nieces call me Mimi, because when my eldest nephew was 2. I had moved here.
Oh,
He was barely 2, actually. And I had gone into the washroom, and he was apparently knocking on the door and trying to call me, but he couldn't say Majdel because he was just barely talking. So he was apparently saying Mimi, 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 and banging on the door. So my sister heard it. She's like, "Oh, now you're Mimi." So
that's so cute.
Yeah, they call me Mimi.
Oh, mashallah, I love that. And that even reminds me, like, I had a friend who had a child in my early 20s, and you know, I was Auntie Jojo, so I would just go to her and I'm like, Jojo, 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 and then I can't even remember if she called me Auntie Jojo, but like there was a competition in the house, so the uncle Ammi, he wanted to be, you know, called Ammi before Mama or Baba. So I was like, why are you making Ammi? It's too hard. I'm like, Mimi. So he's also Mimi.
That's funny.
So yeah. And I came up with that. I'm like, you're Mimi now. Done. And then I'd go to her, Mimi, Mimi, Mimi. And like, eventually it hit. It stuck. I think even the second child was a boy. We managed to do that, I think. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure like that's also Ammi. So Auntie and Uncle. And, you know, like, I feel like we both have unique names. So that's part of the reason why people give us so many nicknames.
Yeah.
And so far, every guest has also picked this block. So I have to come up with this. So the other nickname, thank God I have a long name. Thank you, Mother, is Beloved. So we're 3 daughters. I'm the first. The middle child, she just calls me, Ya Beloved. Unless she said it in that way as well. Ya Beloved.
Aww.
And then whatever she wants. So yeah, and then this name has just kind of stuck with me as well. So when I left home and I went to do the air traffic program, and my sister is 4 and 5 years age difference, and I was like, oh, like I love you guys so much, and I don't want to leave. Yeah, so I wrote them a little book as like a little guide. So if you miss me and I'm on shift and I can't pick up my phone, you like read this book, and I called it Beloved, and I made a stick figure with big curly hair like mine. And then just like life lessons, or, you know, if you're feeling this in school, do this. If somebody bullies you, do this. So she calls me Ya Beloved, and I wrote a little book called Ya Beloved.
That is really cute.
Yeah. I actually forgot about that nickname until the block was drawn again.
Okay. This one looks loose, but it's not. Okay. See if any of them going this way. Up, here we go.
Oh, good job. You can flick it. I'm so aggressive when I play Jenga. Like,
can you recall a moment when you felt completely in tune with your intuition?
Yes, but I already used that one.
Mm-hmm.
To start the podcast. So I had a lot of anxiety around it because, you know, I was like, oh, what are people going to say? What are they going to think? I'm choosing to share my life, you know, in little bits when I'm interviewing people. And then I decided to, you know, meditate and not listen to the anxiety and just be like, what does your heart want? And and I just decided to start the podcast. And I was like, khalas, this is it. I'm just taking the plunge. And I'm happy I did that because so far the feedback has been pretty good. You're always going to get a troll or two, but the feedback has been good. And also, I didn't realize just how much I'd enjoy it until I actually started it. So after the first shoot was done, I was like, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Aww.
So I'm happy I followed the intuition and I chose to silence the anxiety because there was a lot around it. But it was just other people's opinions of like, what will they say? What will they think? You know, like what my sister, the one who calls me Ya Beloved, she's very conservative. She's like, how could you share your life with everyone? And I was like, how can I? And then when I decided to mute everyone out and just think about me and for myself and my 3 dogs, then I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then just take it one episode, one shoot, one guest at a time. And I'm happy I did because I really like it.
Good.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So for me, I'm moving here, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a feeling that, you know what, yes, I have no plans and I have no job and I have no idea what I'm going to do, but somehow, you know, inshallah, it will work out, and it did.
Alhamdulillah. And it really did. You've been here 10 years now and you met your husband.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, my whole thing was like, oh, come for 2, 3, you know, all the expats. 2-3 years, and then I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so
Alhamdulillah, I'm happy you feel comfortable enough. And like the first guest, Adi, is Emirati, but every guest after has been an expat. And it's just really nice to hear that you all just feel so at home in my country. So it makes me feel like a lot of pride. And I'm very hospitable, on top of half Arab and half African. Both sides are extremely hospitable. So I'm just like, yay. I'm happy that you feel that comfort and you feel that ease and safety to be in a place like the UAE. So thank you for that. Oh, this is the one you tried to get out, and you popped it out, but I think it had to just go the other way. What is a significant lesson you've learned from a past mistake or failure? I feel like because you're a realist, this is a great question.
Yeah. So it kind of goes along with the other question about, or the discussion we had earlier about accepting people as they are, not being able to change people, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So with my first marriage, it was very brief. The living together part was maybe 9-10 months max.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did learn a lot about actually myself and what I can accept in other people. You know, what I want, what I don't want, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that is something that I've learned.
That's good.
Did I even answer the question?
I think you did. It's whatever comes to your mind. What's a significant lesson you've learned from a past mistake or failure? I trust people too easily, like way too easily, and I let them in, and I like literally adopt people straight away. I'm like, oh, I like you. Bam, done. You're coming to every family event. You're coming, like, I like have lived with somebody for like a really long time as well, just because I was like, khalas, you're adopted. I love you. You know, that like friendship love. And then it's bitten me as well because, and now I've learned to, if somebody shows you their colors, choose to see their true colors. Okay. So, you know, there was like a recent person where I'm so proud of myself for setting this boundary, because before I would have been like, oh, it's fine. She just blurted it out because she's stressed. No, some people are just mean. So I met somebody, and, you know, through the conferences that I go to and stuff, and then we just connected online as well. And then there was, it was like, oh, okay, come, let's hang out. So we hung out. And then later on messages me, and there was a project that was being worked on. It's like, oh, hey, do you know anybody in the royal family? Because I'm looking for some sponsors. And I was like, oh, okay, but based on the project that was being worked on, you can get sponsorship from, it doesn't have to be a royal family. It can be any company, you know? And I was like, why would you need that? Like, and first of all, I don't have any connections, number one. Number two, why don't you try XYZ? And I listed a couple other types of companies. And then she's like, oh, out of all the Emiratis that I met and I became friends with, I met the most useless one.
Wow.
And I was like, what? That is rude. And still, I went back to old patterns where I was like, no, like, she's just being funny.
Wow.
Then later on, again, as I adopt everybody, I was like, oh, yeah, I think she was in Dubai on her own for a bit, because I think it was summer. So most of the friends were away. Family wasn't visiting for a while. So I was like, hey, like, I know that feeling of like, oh, I feel like I'm on my own. So I was like, listen, I'm meeting my sister and my close friend for dinner. We're going to be like around where you live. Come join us. Shows up 30 minutes late. So we're waiting to eat. Fine, whatever. Turns out she was in the same building. She was just getting her nails done. Again, totally fine. We took the time to look at the menu. We took the time to catch up. Still making excuses. And then in the dinner, again, asked the same question to see if the other people would have any connections to sponsor what she was working on. And then she goes, oh, yeah, I asked this one, and gestured to me. And she has no connections. Of course, I ended up with the most useless one, the most useless Emirati. And then later the girl sat me down there like, Joe, like my little sister was also there, Mira. She's very protective of me. She's like, nah. And I was like, by the way, and then my best friend, she was like, Jo, this isn't the first time she's told you this, because I sent her the screenshot. I'm like, is she being mean, or is it a joke that I can't take anymore? And then I realized, no, khalas, that's it. I was like, okay, I have to cut this person off, but I'll just let it be gradual, because it was a very early adoption. So I've definitely learned my lesson, and now I'm like trying to be way more selective, because before I would have brushed that under the rug, and I did that with a lot of previous friends.
Right.
And now I've learned not to do that. If you see something you don't like, or immediately you don't like, khalas, that's it. So I've learned my lesson.
Oh my God.
And I'm happy that I did do that, because it's going to be awkward in the conference space, but yeah, you did this to yourself.
Exactly.
Girl. Okay.
I think it's your turn.
Oh, no, it's your turn. Oh, wait, is it?
I think I took that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. Let me hydrate myself. Oh, okay. I play Jenga like a cat. What role does curiosity play in your life, and how do you satisfy your intellectual curiosity?
Oh God, it's so ridiculous. Since I was little, since I was little, these are, the 80s basically, when I was growing up. So no internet. So I used to just we used to have a set of Encyclopedia Britannica. Mm-hmm. And I would think of something and I would go and try to look it up, or go to the library and look things up, reading all the time.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Now it's the Google.
Yeah, exactly.
My husband calls it Uncle Google.
Uncle Google?
Just like, go ask your Uncle Google. Yeah, like I'll go and it's funny because we could be watching a show, mm-hmm. and like they talk about a word or a place or a topic, and I just... And right then and there, I have to look it up. Like, mm-hmm. I have to satisfy, scratch the, itch. Yeah, I have to get it done. So, yeah.
Oh, fair. For me, it's the Blinkists. I listen to little nuggets of information. So I'm learning things because I like fun facts. I like to have a conversation like, oh, did you know? Mm-hmm. For example, I can't even think of a fun fact now. Need to clearly listen to her books. But yeah, so I just feel like that's how I've always done. But then if there's something that comes up, if I don't do it immediately in terms of looking it up immediately, asking Uncle Google, then I would forget, and then that's it. But also I have Alexa right in my house, so I don't want to say it out loud to trigger her. Even though she doesn't listen to me.
I know.
She doesn't even listen to me when I don't need to.
She listened to my husband. He always laughs. He's like, see, she listened to me.
Yeah. Like Andy's accent, he's Lithuanian, so she never understands what he says. He's like, set alarm for 9 a.m. She's like, cooking eggs. I don't know. It's so random. So yeah, but or I'll ask her straight away, and then she'll give me the answer to something else, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So I'll use AI in that sense. And ChatGPT. I'm really vibing with ChatGPT just to gain knowledge, but I can feel how it would make people lazy.
It can. It really can. And you can't depend on it 100%. For example, definitely never depend on it for legal advice. And it will actually tell you, make sure that you consult.
Yeah.
Because it's not always accurate. And even with the math problems, I found recently I was creating for one of the courses some kind of calculation thing. And so I had done it, I did my calculations. I said, let me check with ChatGPT to make sure that I did it right, because I'm not the best at math.
Same.
And it actually, the way that it calculated was even wrong. So it came out with the wrong answer. And I was like, you gotta be careful with these things if you depend on it too much.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you can't, it is good for getting creative ideas and things like that. But yes, you can't depend on it 100% yet.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it helps me with I'm a very blunt person, so I'm just
how to say this nicely.
Yeah, and just make it sound floral. So my welcome pack, it helped me just tweak. I'm how to tell them that so for example, the shoot location, right? I was like, I have a podcast. How to tell my guests that they can pick wherever they want to go, but they can come to my house if they want to. Because this is how I would tell you on the phone or if we had a Zoom call, but I want to try and like minimize that overwhelming, like, hey, come to my podcast. Hey, let's get on a call. I just wanted a welcome pack and then you ask me questions. So it helped make it rosy.
Yeah.
You know, just
That's
like
very nicely done.
Thank you. Welcome pack. But yeah, so it helped. I helped with that, and it took me a good couple hours to put the pack together. But just that rosy language. Usually, my sister was my chat GPT. So my sister Mira, mashallah, the girl, I think she's the youngest person in her department, and all the heads of department come to her to draft their emails because she'll put you in her place in the nicest way, but also that you know, like, I'm the boss.
Nice.
So I always used to, like, every time I've had, like, you know, I'm not good with, like, I work in corporate government. And then she's like, you cannot send that email. I'm like, but why? I'm getting to the point. She's like, nah. So she'll draft the email, send it back to me. Even with public speaking gigs, like, when I decided, I'm like, khalas, I'm going to start charging. If it's like a corporate event, you have the budget, pay me. So I was like, I'm just going to tell them they have to pay me this much or they can, like, get lost. And she's like, do not send that. And she's like, send me a voice note of what you want to say and I'll send you an email. And she drafts this and I sent that email, and this company that's like, oh, we've never paid a speaker before, who do you think you are? They were like, budget's approved, see you on this day. I'm like, Mira, good job. So yeah, so I've replaced her a bit.
Your chat GPT.
She is my chat GPT. She's getting busier now, mashallah, because she's like running up the ranks because she knows how to talk and draft an email. And that's what you need in the corporate world, you know, that emotional presence. So she doesn't have time for me as much anymore, which is fine. No, me not. So yeah.
This one is loose here.
Oh, it's loose? Okay.
What is something you noticed but didn't pay attention to in the beginning and had to learn the hard way later on?
Oh, I think I explained the story of, like, this girl just being really mean and making nasty comments and me choosing to listen to them for the first time in my life instead of like, hey, that's okay. I have a thick skin. I used to pride myself on having a thick skin that you can tell me anything and it's fine. So yeah, but now I choose to actually listen to people now because I'm definitely a talker, but I'm also a good listener. But now I've made sure, especially with the podcast, one thing I learned that, you know, as a host, I have to be an active listener. So I make notes before, but I wouldn't make notes after because I'm like listening, like really listening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm really choosing to listen to what people say to me.
So mine, I mean, obviously it's similar to the discussion we had earlier about taking people as they are, but I would say some kind of red flags, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. Something to look for, which I totally skipped over like the first time, was that if they talk badly about their exes, especially if they have kids with them, that is like a do not walk, run as fast as possible kind of thing. So look for those kind of things, or if they get angry really quickly about silly little things here and there, it gets worse over time. So yeah, a lot of things like that you just have to notice.
Choose to see them.
Yes.
Yeah. And especially if your heart tells you that something's not right, even though they're saying and doing the right thing, but your heart's telling you no, I feel like just listen to your gut.
Always.
Listen to it.
Yes.
So yeah, because the way it's phrased is like, your mind forgets, but your nervous system never forgets, and that's your gut feeling.
Exactly.
So listen to your gut. How do you handle periods of uncertainty and ambiguity in your life?
With a lot of prayer.
Yeah. Now it's the same for me.
Definitely prayer and making a lot of dua and just knowing that eventually things will become clearer, or if they're bad, eventually nothing stays the same, right? Everything, alhamdulillah, there are ups and downs in life. And when things are bad, they'll get better.
Yeah.
And when things are good, they'll get worse. Like it is what it is.
Comes in waves.
You accept it as it comes and take things as they come.
Yeah, I agree. I have a lot of internalized panic, but exploring Islam again properly, I'm like, oh, this has really... First of all, I didn't know I had anxiety in that way. just with like day-to-day things like, and then now I realized after exploring Islam and like that anxiety got eased. I'm like, oh, I had anxiety about a lot of things, like even small things like, oh, I have to wake up at, I have to set my alarm for 5 a.m. to go to work. And then the whole night I can't sleep. I didn't realize that's called anxiety. I was just like, oh, I just can't sleep because I'm a shift worker. But it turns out everyone has anxiety.
Yes,
I
me too.
So, yeah. So now I have a word for it. So the praying has helped a lot. The dua, dhikr, like Ramadan was like my month of like really deep diving, because at one point I just wasn't religious. And then Ramadan was like my Kickstarter, and even my husband Andy, his Muslim name is Khalid, by the way. He picked it, and but anyway, he was shocked at my 180 flip, because it was very drastic. I was like, I'm gonna start truly, I'm gonna start praying and like exploring Islam properly and educate myself more than just like the Islamic classes we did in school. And then now, like, such a big shift. So alhamdulillah, it has helped. Sujood is great. Like, I'm just like, whoa, what a head rush. I was like, this is so underrated. People should do it. Like, even if you're not religious, just get your head on the ground.
But it's funny because it's similar to the yoga positions, right? Mm-hmm. And I even found that once I started praying all the time, that my lower back issues were much better, right?
Oh, okay.
Because you're actually in these positions that help you. So subhanAllah, like this, everything is meant to be that way.
Exactly. Wow, look at us. Oh, wow.
I think it's this one.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. What role does gratitude play in your life, and how do you practice it?
So even before, like, I was exploring Islam properly, I would always do a gratitude exercise every day. And living in the middle of nowhere, I always had a long commute. So I'd get in the car and I would be like, Ya Allah, thank you for, and then I'd list everything. Every little thing, I never take anything for granted. So I'd be like, thank you for allowing me to wake up in the morning and go to work and have this car to drive. And there's no fog in the morning because, the fog is insane.
Yes.
So I'm like, and there's no fog, and the fact that the road is clear, and thank you for and if I put the hazard light on, I'm like, thank you for not hazard light, my indicator. I'm like, thank you for my indicator working. Thank you for Andy. Thank you for my house. Thank you for my AC working. Thank you for that. I have a Tesla, and it's so bad for your skin, wallah, because the sunroof is there. So I bought this like hat. So I literally look like I'm on a safari in this futuristic car. And I'm like, thank you for my hat, so I don't get sunspots. Thank you for, and then like every little thing for like a solid 20 minutes. And then now I do it in sujood, and I'm just like, whoa, head rush. So it's a very long one. So yes, I've just translated that into, I didn't realize what a like Muslim thing it was to do until when I started exploring Islam. I was like, oh, it's a practice I already had.
It's built in.
Yeah, it's built in my car rides. So I still do that while I drive because, thank you. Thank you for everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So same with me. I get it mostly through the prayers and the dua and everything. But yeah, sometimes my husband has to remind me too, because I do have a tendency to complain.
Okay.
And so every once in a while I say, no, I have to show gratitude.
Yeah.
It doesn't like it when you're like, you're not grateful for things. So yeah. So sometimes I do have to get the reminder that.
Is it verbal or do you write things down?
Mostly I verbally do it.
Okay.
My sister did buy me once a gratitude journal, but I did it a couple times. I didn't get too into the practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I'm verbal too. I like to hear and speak. So same with me. Thank you for my hat. Everything.
I love that.
Yeah, really. This hat is ridiculous. Like, I bought it. First, I was like, oh, I always wanted a Tesla. So alhamdulillah, I was able to get it. And then when I did get it, I was like, the sunroof, my skin was going crazy because I do a lot of like chemical peels and like always at the dermatologist. So you have to stay out of the sun. And then I'm in the car with literally no roof. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to get like a fancy hat for my fancy car. So I go to Bloomingdale's and I buy this like really cute hat, but it didn't do anything for this thing. So my mom was like, oh, I'm hungry. Like, again, I'm going on a tangent, but it's fine. Mom was like, oh, I'm hungry. And she's like, I feel like Lebanese. So, in Dubai Mall, we're walking to, is it called like Al-Halab or something?
Yes.
So we're walking towards that and there's mimoso. And she's like, Jouhayna, I know you went and you bought this unnecessarily expensive hat. Let's go to mimoso. Wallah, I'll find you a better hat. I was like, no, Mom. Yeah. She's like, yalla, we're going. I'm like, okay. So we go and we find this like white hat. Wallah, the coverage is perfect. So one day I just like took a picture, and I don't take flattering photos of myself to send to like family and friends. It's like literally double chin, nostrils, everything, like pictures. And then that photo, I was like, oh, I don't look as ugly in it. So I'm going to just post on my story and tag Mimoso. Thank you for the hat. They reposted it. Yeah, the one photo that actually gets reposted by a brand is this one. So that was embarrassing.
Aw, that's a cute story.
Yeah. But yeah, this hat is great. So if you have a Tesla and you're struggling with the skin, girls and boys, men and women, get a hat from Mimoso. Also sponsor this podcast. So yeah, but thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it was really nice to meet you in person. And the latest thing you did for me was my upstairs neighbor was struggling with the landlord, because I won't go further than that.
Yes, I talked to her.
So thank you so much for you literally were like, oh, I don't practice anymore, but send her my number. So it meant a lot to me that you were like, I'm going to help. I was like, thank you.
Well,
because it really eased her. She was really struggling with the whole situation, and she just needed some answers. So you really helped with that, because since then I haven't heard from her, which is great. No news is good news. So thank you for helping and, educating people and, sharing your story and going out of your comfort zone today to do that.
Yeah, it was actually fun.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so glad you feel that way, because, with the podcast initially, I was very inspired by Diary of the CEO and AB Talks. And then I was like, oh, it should be a serious podcast. And then the first episode, we were all like literally everyone in the room was laughing. I'm like, I'm actually funny. We're going to just go with like a chill vibe. We can't do serious. We can do serious when required, but we're here for a laugh as well. So I'm glad that you feel comfortable, and maybe this will help you be more comfortable to, do your bio introduction for your next course. Like, hello, I'm Majdel Musa. And be a little more comfortable with that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.